Okay, can you hear me? Mic in, mic in, mic in. Hello guys, hello, welcome. My name is Gabriel Kine. We probably going to have a little bit of difficulty with the video upload speed, but welcome to the wonderful world of hedgehogs. This first session is really setting the scene for the game. And this is a 10-week series. Don't worry, it won't necessarily last that long, but you will gain great skills during this time, and you will be able to move on with your ability to do Scratch enormously. But before we learn too much about Scratch, we need to learn about the hedgehog ecology so that it is really clear and fits into the whole picture, and that will ensure you get a much better experience of building the game. So today's lesson is focused on that. Let's go and look at these things. So well, it was a warm summer evening. I was 7. I was sitting in my garden when this most extraordinary creature came snuffling right past me. And it was all spiny and secretive and not well sighted, and I was captivated. And that starts my love of hedgehogs, and the why of this whole project is we love them. I hope you guys love them, and it's let's keep them, and the reason why we need to keep them and focus on that is going to become clear in the next slide. So this is a story of decline. When I was young in the 1960s, you often saw hedgehogs. They were common, like squirrels are. However, over the last 40 years, probably 85% of the population has fallen. That's from 32 million to anywhere between 1.5 million and 500,000 now. They're hard creatures to count, as you might notice. Hard to spot, hard to count. The hedgehog is, the why. Why the hedgehog? Well, it is beautiful and it's curious, but it's also a really good indicator of the health of nature. It loves to eat invertebrates, especially the beetles and the caterpillars, the earwigs. Surprisingly enough, although it will eat slugs, they're not high on its list of food, only about 5%. So if you have hedgehogs, you've got good nature. So, the first question. Now have a think about this. How many were there in 1964? 1 million? 12 million? 23 million? 32 million? If you've got a piece of paper and pen, write it down now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the answer is 32 million. Coming on to tell you a little bit more about them. The spines of a hedgehog, which are its most unusual feature, make a formidable protective barrier. There were 7,000 of these spines, which if you pick them up in a glove, without gloves, they really hurt you. I did that a couple of nights ago by mistake. And so, that's a really good protective barrier. This curious fellow lives in Asia. Hedgehogs are a great design, and they've spread out throughout the world. They live in Asia, Europe, Africa, and even Indonesia. In fact, there are 17 separate species in the world. The little babies. Hedgehogs have a weight from about 500 grams to 1.5 kilograms. They can give birth to 1 to 10 hoglets, but it's usually about 3 or 4. Hoglets is the name for their babies. After 2 months, the hoglets are ready to forage out of the nest and go looking for food. So, question 2. How many spines do they have? 700, 2,000, 7,000, or 2,500? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the answer is 7,000. Well done. Let's talk about dangers. This is really important because the game builds in dangers, and it's and that's kind of the fun of it. Because your hedgehog has to avoid these dangers. This is my neighbour digging their pond. Crazy guy. Ponds are great because they really stimulate insect life, and that's food for hedgehogs. But steep sides are terrible because it just gets stuck in the pond and eventually drowns. Its forearms aren't strong enough to pull it up. So, put ponds in, but you have to design shallow gradients. The next one, streamers and mowers. They can often cause really bad injuries to hedgehogs. So when you're streaming or using your mower, just make sure all your borders are really well checked, and that should avoid the accidents. Bundles of sticks are just great for hedgehogs to live in, and it's their ideal habitat. So fires just can be terrible for them, especially bonfire night and all of those things, because it occurs just when they're hibernating. So when if you have to burn a mound of sticks and stuff, move it first so you've got a chance of disturbing the hedgehog and it can go off and find another home. These are predators, and you need to know the predators because they're going to be appearing in your game. Dogs cause lots of damage, by far the more damage to hedgehogs. And so in that respect, at night when they go out, what you need to do is turn on the light for 5 minutes and let the hedgehog scurry away, and then let the dog out. Badgers are in fact their natural predator and will eat them, but they will not choose to eat them as their first course. We've got lots of videos showing the two merrily eating together. They'll only choose to eat them when they're really hungry. Netting, really problem for hedgehogs. We put netting in gardens to cover our plants, around our sports equipment, and the key thing here is to roll up the netting so that the hedgehogs can go underneath it, and that will make a huge difference to them. Poisons, insecticides, slug pellets, they get into the animal systems, into the insects, and the hedgehogs eat them, and therefore it affects their liver and can cause many serious problems. So, another question, guys. Which of these are dangerous to hedgehogs? Netting, cats, pigeons, or slug pellets? There are more than one here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the answer is netting and slug pellets. Cats don't cause problems, nor do pigeons. Okay, let's just go on to how we can help them. So one of the important things is that we have loads of fences and walls around our gardens, and hedgehogs can't pass through them. They need 8 to 10 big-sized gardens to survive. So you need to have they need to have a path through them. So cutting a hole of about 15 centimetres by 15 centimetres, that's like a CD, in your fence, it makes a huge difference. And it makes a hedgehog highway. And it also helps them find their mates. Making a wild garden, really, the more wild flowers, plants give the hedgehog coverage, but it promotes insects, and that gives them food, and little shallow ponds, it further promote insects, and life gets good in the garden. Shelter is really good. You don't need to buy one. You can make them out of sticks and leaves, bundle them up, such that hedgehogs can find them and keep warm in them. And then feeding, well, if you're going to feed them, just feed them with cat food and water. And no other foods, because the other foods can cause difficulties for the hedgehog. So, next question. Which of these will help? And there are more than one. Holes in fences, more flowers, shelter, more wild. Have a think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's holes in fences, shelter, more wild, but more flowers doesn't necessarily help. It has to be the right flowers, you see. They have to be natural wildflowers, which are going to promote insects. Lots of our more ornamental flowers don't do that. So, I think the next thing we're going to do, that was a lot of talk about ecology. So the next thing I'd like to do is jump into looking at the game. And let me just make sure I've got this right. Just here. So, and let's transition across. Oh, whoops. A little bit of a moment on this one. So what I'd like you to do now, just because we're having a little bit of difficulty with our streaming software there, what I'd like you to do is to go and spend a bit of time playing the game. That's at the intro to learn. And it will show you a lot about the key things that you need to do. And it will show you great things about the hedgehog survival, and it will show you what fun it can be to making these games. Now, once you've had a play of the game, what we'll look at then is we will go and you can further research hedgehogs by completing the research document, which is down below the page, and there are videos to help you. I would like to thank Wild Hogs Hedgehog Rescue, the RHS and Hedgehog Street and Pixabay for supporting us with images and information. And and what I'd like you now to do is, so our next lessons are going to be very much about Scratch, and you're going to be learning loads of things and establishing how to make the game. But this one is just getting you the feel of the hedgehog and its ecology. So I'll keep the stream open, and if you've got questions, I'll try and answer them now. Let me just, I've got someone looking at the, okay, yeah, I'm sorry on some of the video getting laggy. We're still trying to work that out. And so no questions at the moment, so I am going to log off now, and we will look forward to seeing you next week when we start the work in at the very beginning.